recording episode 7 of the Corner 3 podcast. I'm back here with Nolan. Nolan's back here for the second time right after the Raptors game. Tricky game. We almost let it go after the second half. Knicks came out guns blazing. Another solid game by Randall and RJ. But as always, Nick Nurse came out the second half, adjusted, and came out with the zone, and the Knicks struggled. What you thought about the game, Nolan?
It was a good game. It was good. Like you said, it was good to see us come out strong for once compared to the past few games. We came out a little sluggish. Good to see Randall being a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, it sucked. I mean, to see us blow that big lead, but the ability to close out these past two games is definitely something that's like a good trend for the next long term and for the end of the season.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like the Knicks have a problem with attacking the zone. I don't think there's enough reliable shooters. We have a bunch of shooters that could get streaky, who could get hot at different stretches of the game, but constant shooter like that knockdown shooter where teams can't even attempt to play a zone on you is something that the Knicks have to address for next season. Because I feel like if we do make it to a play-in game and if we do make it to a playoff series, they're gonna run zone majority of the defense against us.
Oh yeah, I think we'll see a ton of that until we have shooters that can effectively beat the zone. Because I mean, it's been giving us struggles all season. I know we got a little better with it recently. This game was obviously a little regression on that part, but I mean, I don't know. I think Burks and I guess Bullock are probably our two best shooters outside of Quickly, and all three of them are streaky. So I mean, you're going to see a lot of that.
Yeah, for sure. I see Tibbs, like he tried to put Knox in the third quarter, but Knox standing, Knox is not,
He's not always like tuned into the game. It feels like
bro, I don't know what's going on. And I'm seeing both of the Bridges ball
I,
out
w-
this season. And
I was just thinking that when they showed like I have NBA League Pass because I'm here in Pittsburgh, and they were showing like at halftime some crazy Miles Bridges dunk, and I was just like, man, we really could have had that instead.
and I wasn't too high on Mikel, the one on the Sun, just because of his ceiling, but
Mm-hmm.
shit, like I would not mind him with RJ. Like I was thinking about that earlier today. Like he could, like I was watching the Suns game yesterday, and the way they play defense, and it's like he could have been like a real part of what we have going on. And he right now he has the chance to be a second all defensive team. You
Yeah,
know,
no, his defense has always been great.
but RJ came. He hit that clutch three in
Yeah,
the
it was like
corner.
what 35 seconds left or something like that, 34.
Yeah, for sure. And transitioning into the previous game against Memphis, when RJ scored 15 points in the fourth quarter in overtime, just really asserting himself. I think he heard the noise with ESPN and that ridiculous list. I don't even want to talk about it really, but I don't understand how you have RJ. You don't have RJ Barrett on the list, but you have Halliburton and you have Suns, not the Suns guy, the guy from the Spurs, the wing
They
from the.
had LaMelo Ball ahead of Booker. Like that was so insane. Like Booker
Yo,
is one of the top five players, like, scoring players in the league probably right now. I can't even understand that.
yeah, for sure. He doesn't have a weakness in his game. And, I understand like the upside of LaMelo because LaMelo can be an MVP candidate, but
Oh, for
man,
sure, but like what he hasn't shown it yet. I
yeah,
mean,
for sure.
he's impressive as a rookie. I don't mean to knock the guy's game at all. I love LaMelo's game, but
Yo, he had them like he was over Jason Tatum too. Jason Tatum just had 50.
I know, dude. Whenever Knox came out in that summer league and he started going off, I was like, "Oh man, he's gonna be just like Jason Tatum." And it's just been that's been like the peak of Knox's career, isn't it? Outside that 1 month, I think he won Rookie of the Month or something that one December.
When RJ was getting drafted, I actually thought in my pea-sized brain, I actually thought Knox had more potential than RJ Barrett. At one point in my life, I actually thought that.
My time frame was a little bit different, like I said, but I mean, I definitely had really, really high hopes for Knox, and that's been one of the more disappointing ones. Even with like Frank, like Knox, I just thought he looked the part.
Yeah, for sure. And then Going back to the Memphis game, Memphis played us tough. I always thought Memphis was a really, really good team. I think they're one piece away when Triple J comes back. I think Triple J can be an all-star player. I think they're literally one piece away, and they was playing us hard. And like one of the most underrated players in the whole league. And I would love. I think he's a free agent, and I would love for him to come to the Knicks. Kyle Anderson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's funny because for a while there, when Kyle Anderson, he was on the Rockets for a while on that horrible contract, right?
No, no, no. He was on the Spurs. It was like, Pop found him out of nowhere. Like,
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking of Ryan Anderson, I think.
oh, yeah, no, 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 yeah, yeah. Ryan Anderson signed that ridiculous contract.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was thinking for a second. But yeah, no, he's definitely, I forgot about him for the Spurs. I haven't got a chance to watch the Spurs that much this year for whatever reason, but when they played us, obviously they just looked like any typical Spurs team, just out executing everybody.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think Spurs will always be solid every year just because of Pop, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, the Memphis game was it was something else, you know. During that game, let me find my notes. Um, During that game, like Randall played really hard. I feel like Valanciunas they was punishing them on the boards. Obi, Noel, and Randall. They was having in Taj, poor Taj. They was having a hard time with that athletic team, like with Brandon Clark and
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Xavier Tillman Jr. Out of Michigan State. He's a dog on the boards. They had Grayson Allen on the perimeter. Just RJ didn't have the best game until the fourth quarter. They put the clamps on him. Kyle Anderson and all those guys. I it's not that bad of a team. I was watching them earlier before, and I had tweeted like they're legit. Like I fuck with them. Like I feel like uh they might make it the play in. Depends on who they play, because I feel like Golden State is pretty much done with the Wiseman injury. I don't think
Yeah, I was just about to say that when you read it, and if you knew that or not. But yeah, that Wiseman injury, that sucks for them. But I mean, honestly, if you're the Warriors, not making a play-in game or a playoff game really isn't that big of a deal this year. Like nothing this year really matters too much.
and they have Minnesota's pick, and if it doesn't get in the top four, they get to keep it. So imagine, they get another like 5, 6, 7 pick in this draft, and they get to bring in Wiseman for another year. I think they trade the pick. I'm still surprised that Wiggins is even on that team.
Yeah, yeah. I guess this year probably just mostly about giving him like a full year with Steph to see how they mesh. But I mean, yeah, I don't know if he's going to be on there much longer.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Uh, Retracting back to the Knicks. Before this game, the Knicks, the last 7 games, they were 2-5. Crazy losses to like Miami, Minnesota, Dallas, Brooklyn, Boston. Tough losses all throughout there. Coming out to this next stretch, they have a few games that are winnable. I believe they have a homestand coming up, and like right now, it's a critical stage in the NBA, I believe, because right now everybody's getting together. Everybody in the league is getting that final stretch, either
Hmm.
to like coming to the playoffs strong, or preparing themselves for coming back from injury, like the Lakers and the Clippers are. And it's a tough stretch. They need to focus. Like this is a real test for this team. You know.
Yeah, I mean, even tomorrow, I guess we play the Lakers at home, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's going to be a tough game because even you saw what they did to the Brooklyn.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Drummond went off for all those people that were talking trash on him on Twitter, Nick's Twitter, the past few weeks. But
I'm still talking shit.
no, I mean, I don't want Drummond. It would have been like a multi-year deal to get him here, and I wouldn't want to invest that with Randall coming up on a contract and Mitch coming up on a contract. But I mean, people were making it seem like he was some bum. I mean, he's definitely still
Oh
has like
yeah,
a role on a team.
yeah, for sure, for sure. The Knicks picked up John Henson for their last roster spot, but interesting enough, he has a calf injury, so he won't even play. For his 10-day contract, he won't practice, he won't play. So he pretty much came in, collected 100K. you
Got
know,
hurt like day one and just catch
yeah.
that check. That's funny as hell.
A guy who got picked up, I don't know if you know Anthony Tolliver, solid big. I'm surprised they didn't give him a look.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was looking at a few people. I was actually really hoping that What's his name? Kem Birch, who is on Toronto now, would actually get picked up by the Knicks. I liked him a lot. He actually played at Pitt his freshman year before he transferred. He's just a big athletic dude. He doesn't always do a ton, but I mean, I think he's in that same type of Norvell Pell, Henderson range of just lengthy shot blocker.
Yeah, for sure. I heard from Kevin O'Connor's podcast that that Ken Birch, like he got bought out from Orlando and he went to Toronto for purposely because he's Canadian himself,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much I guess that's like a long-term thing. We'll see how that plays out, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I know. They even said on the broadcast today he played with Nick Nurse in the Olympics. So, I mean, just having that connection, I'm sure, can't hurt his cause there.
Oh, yeah, and they were saying how RJ look. He was interested. I would love to see RJ in an Olympic setting. Let him
Oh,
get that
yeah.
experience.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, seeing him just go out there and compete would just be fun.
Yeah, for sure. You know, even though we haven't been winning a lot of games, Bullock has been shooting the ball incredibly well. 43% on 6 attempts. A real sniper. I know I said last podcast, but he's shot well this game as well. But the only problem I have with Bullock, like I would love to bring him back, maybe not as a starter because he does have multiple times we've seen this season in late game situations. He's not the smartest.
Yeah, he doesn't have a great handle. He's not like the best basketball IQ or anything like that. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, for sure. And I would really like somebody who could do more at his position, you know? Like
You know, actually speaking about that, like today to close the game, I loved that Tibbs went with Burks to start closing out the game and then put Burks and Quickly on the floor together for like the last minute or so there. I think like just having those two on the court together is so much better than the past few games where we've seen Elf just out there doing providing nothing but running to the rim.
yeah, for sure. And it's important for RJ and Randall's development too because those guys are shooters, you know. And once the
Mm-hmm.
defense collapse, they're able to kick it out and get open shots. That's why I don't understand why Quickly's not starting at this point. Like it's obvious that Elfrid Payton is not going to be here next season. It's obvious. Everybody knows. Tibbs knows. Leon knows. He knows himself. I'm not understanding why Quickly can't come in. Does he even have to be the point guard? I don't even think he can be a point guard because I don't think he has the vision. But he can't. Like he plays perfectly in that off-ball role, perfectly, and he could play pick and roll. I don't understand what Tibbs is not looking at. I don't. Maybe it's a veteran
Yeah, that's my
seniority.
thing. I think that Tibbs is, you see it with Obi a bit too, is he's typically pretty hesitant to play rookies big minutes. And that might be to a fault, but hopefully we don't bring back Alpha again next year and both those players get a bigger role in the offense.
Yeah, man. It's I don't know what Tibbs is doing out there, but you know, quickly he hit a rookie wall these past 7 games as well when during this slide that the Knicks have been on, just putting up only 8 points, 1 assist, shooting 39% from three, you know, but you know, he's always gonna be a shooter, shooting well, but he's only shooting 38 on the field goal. So twos, he's only shooting at 38 from the field, meaning, you know, that floater is not going down like it was at the beginning of the year. Teams are starting to
Yeah.
adjust. Like they know if you're not going for the shot, you don't have an in-between game. Like he doesn't have that yet.
No, yeah. That's something he's gonna have to work on. I think that'll come with adding a little bit more like muscle in the off season, hopefully. And he'll be able to get to the rim a little easier. But I mean, you saw from like especially that Memphis game, even today, that whenever he's on, man, he can just change the entire like flow of the game for the Knicks. Like when the starters don't have it going, he comes off the bench and he's such a spark plug. It's been such a benefit for our team.
Yeah, for sure. He's Lou Will, you know, he's Lou Will,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been a long time since the Knicks had a bona fide six man. It's been since J.R. Smith and somebody has came off the bench and lit it up.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be Alonzo Trier for a minute there, but that didn't pan out.
We all did, man. We all did. Man, Alonzo Trier. shout out to Alonzo Trier, man.
Yeah, man. Seriously, that dude. I mean, I have nothing against him. I mean, he was fun to watch.
I didn't understand why you couldn't come off the bench, especially last year's roster. You couldn't play a minute. Like that's I
Yeah,
don't understand
yeah.
that. But transitioning from the Knicks talk about the league. The league's been heating up. Denver has been like absolutely balling. They had lost last night, but before last night, they were 7-0 since getting Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon has just came in, played his role because when he got drafted from Orlando, I believe fourth, like he had high expectations.
Oh yeah.
And now he's not asked to score average 20. Now he's not asked to do all that. Now he's asked to play defense, shoot the three, and cut. I don't know how you felt about Aaron Gordon in Orlando. How did you feel like his
Honestly,
development?
um, man, I thought he was a good player, great dunker and everything, but I didn't. I saw more of his weaknesses than I saw of his strengths. I thought he was like a limited potential guy, but going to a place like Denver where he can just kind of fill that role, I mean, it just plays to all of his strengths, like you were saying, his ability to play defense, attack the rim. It changes everything for him.
Yeah, for sure. Been a real spark plug for Denver, just filling in that Jerry and Grant role that they've been missing. Will Barton has been like a real disappointment coming back from injury last year. He hasn't been playing like he has been in that system.
Yeah, yeah. Him and even Murray has been had kind of a down year.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Or
mean, he's picked it
Murray.
up lately, but the first half of the year is definitely a little slow.
Yeah, but constant like the thing about Murray is like he's just not consistent enough. I feel like there's like another level that he reaches, but he doesn't stay there. Like he'll reach that peak, like that playoff for maybe a game or two in the regular season, and then he'll take like 5 games off, where he's only putting up 20-ish points, which is still great. But when you see him play, like I know there's more there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know what it is exactly that's holding his game back, but there's definitely something that I feel like he is like another level he can get to if he really works at it.
Yeah, for sure. And Jokic has been just tearing up the league. 26 points, 10 assists. I mean, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, almost averaging a triple double. Shooting 57% from the field, 42% from three, 86% from the free throw line. Only Russ and Oscar Robertson have averaged 25, 10, and 8 in a season. And Jokic is going to be the only one to do it while averaging a true shooting percentage of 55%. So, like, he's demolishing the league. And nobody has been more dominant than Jokic since Embiid has went down. Nobody has been more dominant than Jokic.
Oh no, and it's crazy that like you don't even hear that much about. I mean, you have recently now that they've really started coming on, but like prior to that, you just don't hear so much about Denver and Utah and teams like that just go have really good seasons, and just because they're not big market teams, they don't get the coverage that other teams get.
Yeah, for sure. And Denver, like the thing about Jokic is like he's improved every year, and he really showed that against the playoff series against the Clippers. He was a big reason why they were able to come back 3-1 from Los Angeles last year. Really, just his vision is incredible as a big man. Like you really don't even need a point guard if you have
No,
him
yeah,
on the team.
you literally run the offense through your center, and it's like having a point center is just crazy.
It's just a luxury, real beautiful to see. And Aaron Gordon, he was saying on like this is the easiest basketball I've ever played.
Yeah, that's I didn't realize like how good of a fit he would be to that roster until you actually see it all come together. I was a little like skeptical about the move. I was like, like I said, I didn't really think the highest of Aaron Gordon. So whenever he went there, I was like, I mean, that's it's a nice move. It makes him better, but seeing him actually be able to not be, like you said, the focus of a team and really just thrive in that role is something that, you just love to see that for players in the league.
Yeah, for sure. And how do you feel about their playoff chances? I feel like, with the Lakers coming in the playoffs, maybe a little banged up, Clippers, with their issues, we never know what's going on with them. Utah, to me, Utah's fake noise.
Yeah.
Uh, how do you feel about Denver?
Denver, I think, honestly, has as good of chance as any of reaching the finals. But I did this last year and I was wrong. I'll probably be wrong this year. I just think the Clippers are still more talented than them, even though they lost that series last year, especially with that Rondo addition. And the reason I'll say that they have the same chance as the Lakers is just the injuries and how they come back and how many games they have back to really mesh and get all on the same page again. But I mean, if there's any player in the league that's proven that none of that matters and that you just need to get him into the playoffs, it's LeBron. So it's probably the Lakers have a slight edge still, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to see that series and how they play them, how they play the Lakers this year, because it looked like AD pretty much tore them up last year in the playoffs. It's gonna be interesting to see how they adjust with Aaron Gordon. I don't think Aaron Gordon is gonna do as good as a job as Jerry and Grant. Well, neither of them did a good job, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting to see. Transitioning to another team in the West has been just dominating the league. The Suns have been playing extremely well, 8-2 in their last 10 games. Devin Booker putting up 28, 4-4 since the All-Star break. I think he heard that noise, about him not making the All-Star team originally. Being injury reserve.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, like, the West is deep, like in the guards, but I mean, the fact that this was his first All-Star team, right?
Not second.
Second, okay. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, but still, even that, like, he's been such a good player, such a underrated player, I feel, for so long now. He's been one of my favorite players. So to see him have like this team success finally is really cool.
Yeah, for sure. CP3 has been a big part of his development this year. CP3 putting up 17 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds. He's looking like great for a 35-year-old. I believe he's 35, right?
I think that sounds right.
Yeah, he's about 35. The impact he had on winning, just the impact he had on the young guy like Bridges and Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson's living up to like where he got picked at
Hmm.
for sure. And
That's another guy actually who started off at Pitt.
oh, he transferred.
Yeah, yeah. He's actually from like Moon Township, which is about like the town next to me. But it's cool to see local dudes like that actually being. When he was at Pitt, I never thought he'd be a first round draft pick until he went to UNC, and then it made a lot more sense that he got to really like show his ability. But he's really surprised me because I mean I thought he was a good shooter when he was at Pitt, but I mean he just become a solid defender and just even playing the power forward. Sometimes he just got a lot bigger, and it's just the development's been cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I know he was a good shooter. Like when he was at North Carolina, I know he was a good shooter. But when he got drafted, where he got drafted, I'm looking at the
Oh, I thought it
Suns.
was a huge reach, man.
Like, what is going on? Like, why are you taking? And then, you know, you got to give them credit because the front office credit because they really turned that franchise around. Because 2 years ago, it looked like they were going nowhere and nowhere fast, and it looked like they was going to lose Devin Booker before the rookie
Oh yeah,
extension.
everybody would have thought he was going to ask for a trade if things kept going the way they were going.
Yeah, for sure. Like picking up, like drafting well, like again with Mikal Bridges, drafting Camp Johnson. They revived, what's his name? The guy who danced with Westbrook. Uh, Damn, I
Ah,
forgot his name. I
I
like
do too. I
Cameron
know.
Payne, Cameron Payne, Cameron Payne.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
right.
They revived Cameron Payne's career. Aiton is playing great defensive basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. CP3, like since this MVP like conversation has been, blown wide open with this weird year and all the injuries, CP3 looks like, he's putting his hat in and he probably won't win it, but it's a conversation, the impact he had on the Suns.
Yeah, I think honestly, if the MVP was awarded the way I think it should be rewarded, which literally like, the most valuable player to your team versus what I think it's become more of like a the best season that a player has. That's why like Giannis has won so much. Um, I think CP3 would be higher up in the race for that. But just the brand he plays of basketball, he's putting up good numbers and everything. But compared to players like Giannis and LeBron and Embiid, the numbers just like aren't quite on that same level. And I think that's why we're not hearing as much chatter about him in that race.
Yeah, for sure. Incredible, but still a great year for 35. You know, he deserves a medal. Call it fixing a franchise medal. He went to the Clippers, fix up the Clippers. He went into OKC. Everybody thought OKC was gonna go into the shitter. He revived that season, and now he come into the Suns when they barely made the playoffs. I mean, now it was it a play-in or playoff? They barely made the play-in.
Yeah, they had a bad. Yeah, it was a pretty bad record still, but I mean they made the play in.
Yeah, and then he comes in, and now they're the second seed. They're the second seed in the West. You know, growing up watching Chris Paul, I've never really appreciated Chris Paul. I always thought Chris Paul was like overrated. I don't know why.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've never had love for CP. I'm going to be real. I've never really had love for CP. I've
No,
always,
because I get that though, because like I can see a lot of the things he does, like chirping at the refs and some of the things you hear about him in the locker room being annoying. And he's not like the flashiest player, but I don't know. Some of my favorite basketball teams when I was younger just had traditional floor general point guards, and that's just what like Chris Paul's the prototypical point guard. And I just love that brand of basketball. So I think that's why he's been one of my favorite players for a while now.
yeah, even like when him and Darren Williams were, the point guards, 1 and 2 point guards in the league. Like personally, I've always thought Darren Williams was always better than him. I don't know why. Now that I'm looking back on it, I'm like I was stupid, but I really thought Darren Williams was better than him
Well,
back then.
no, I mean, like in your defense, like I mean, Darren Williams had a few really dope years there in Utah.
Yeah. Now he was a killer. He was a killer. Like to put you on the spot, do you think he was better than Nash?
Ooh,
CP.
oh, CP.
Yeah.
Um, I think he's a touch better than Nash personally. Yeah,
Ooh, what about Jason Kidd?
Jason Kidd. Yeah, same.
Oh,
I
okay.
know I'll probably get killed for that,
Uh,
but
no, I mean it's not. I mean they. I mean I don't. They both around the same level.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not like a far gap between those three, but I just think he has the highest ceiling of those three. Just by the way, I think he's probably the best shooter of those three, which is the biggest
Ooh,
difference for
Nash.
me.
Ooh,
Towards the
that.
end, Nash got much better. Him and Kidd got better at shooting towards the end of their career, but Chris has been pretty good, especially in that mid range.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes. CP has had a impactful career. His shooting he's always been a solid basketball player. I would never say like, he was a terrible player. I've always thought, he never had any playoff, success, major playoff success.
Mm-hmm.
Until that Rocket season, because I didn't really start to like appreciate him till that Rocket season, and I saw him like turn up against like Minnesota. I saw him turn up against Utah. I'm like, oh shit, like he's about that life if he gets the opportunity.
Oh yeah, dude, he's always been a player for the moment. I remember watching him in college even and just being so surprised, like how NBA ready he looked.
But then he go to Wake Forest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, back when Wake Forest got recruits.
I know, right?
Man. I have that Wake Forest Tim Duncan jersey that I pull out sometime.
Oh shit, that's
It's
funny as hell.
a throwback, but
My buddy from Connecticut had a T Mac Knicks jersey in his closet, and I was like, damn, that was like the year I started like watching the Knicks. The next year they got Stoudemire, I think, right?
Yeah. That was the year. I believe I was even in high school yet. I believe I was still in the middle. I was in the middle of middle school, and I remember, and at that time, I'm not really like understanding basketball like that. So I'm thinking like, yo, we got T Mac, like holy shit, and
Yeah.
he turned up that one game.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah. He had some solid games for sure. In that one game, though, I know what you're talking about, but he went off.
Yeah, imagine you're like 11, 12 years old and you're watching the and you're watching that. You're not
And you're
you
like, shit, I don't have like any idea like his age, like how that's gonna
yeah.
affect things,
No, he
but
looks like a perfectly good superstar player.
I'm buying all into
And
that.
then he just disappeared and I was like, damn.
Yeah, that was. But hey, we got Mari and the Mello, so we got a nice little run out of it at least.
But they never played with each other like that.
No, yeah, but I just mean like from there on, we had like a stretch of at least having one really good player.
I know it really sucks, as Knicks fans, because we finally get. I know this is like rambling, but we finally get Carmelo, and all that bullshit happened. I'm still not over that. I don't care what type of winning we have right now. I'm still not over that era.
Yeah, yeah, that era just seemed like just so mismanaged the whole time.
Yeah, for sure, for
I mean,
sure.
even like obviously drafting Porzingis, regardless of anything that happened after the fact, was a good move. But the fact that I don't know, I think Melo is his best version of himself at the four, and to draft a power forward there when you just signed Melo to that contract and you knew he was going to be at that position, like I just don't think Melo's a good enough defender to play the three regularly.
Yeah, for sure. And like, yeah, Phil Jackson at the time was just terrible. Like him and Isaiah Thomas, like I don't know which one fucked up the team more.
I'll say Isaiah. Just, I mean, Phil, for all the shit Phil did, he didn't like mortgage our future and trade away
He
draft
he
picks.
tried to. He tried
He tried
to.
to, but like we said last time, I think we were on the pod. He almost traded for Booker and the pick for Mark and
But at the time,
shit.
and that Joakim Noah contract, I gave him hope. Like I really did. I was like,
I
man,
did too. I don't know why.
me either. Me
I don't
either,
know
bro.
why I bought into that whole team. Looking back on that, that was like such a typical Knicks team. But
And then my friends that are not Knicks fans who think of me as a delusional Knicks fan, they told me that like Joakim Noah wasn't gonna be shit ever, ever. Like after that, after the Chicago Bulls run, after that injury he had, and he barely before he signed that big contract because he barely played before. He played like 30 games maybe before he got that big deal.
I'm sorry. Did you say?
I said Joakim Noah, he played like 30 games before he got that big contract. So it's like, Phil, what are you doing?
Oh, I thought he was signed. I thought he just came over as a free agent, signed that big contract.
No, he did. I know. I'm saying like he played like
Oh, I got you. I got you. Yeah, he was
yeah,
hurt the year before. You mean?
and he got paid. Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Transitioning into to a team that's been struggling. The Pelicans. The Pelicans have been 5-5 their last 10 games, just 500, just off the strength of Zion. Ingram has been having injury troubles, but even before he went down, they've been losing games. Zion's been putting up 37 and 4 on 60% shooting, and he's just unstoppable. Like if he's 5 feet away from the rim, nobody's gonna stop him. Like he's bullied Goldberg. He's bullied almost every big in the league. It's incredible what Zion has been doing, man.
No, yeah, Zion's been great, but honestly, for me as a Knicks fan, like seeing them not have the greatest like success and wins and losses is an upside for me because I think that makes it less likely they try to spend top dollar to bring Alonzo back.
Yeah, for sure. Like you saw, like I guess the reason behind them even entertaining the fact that Alonzo, was on the trademark is because, like, there's no purpose of paying him if we already see what's happening with the trio. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if he's just not a fit, he's just not worth the money he's going to command on the open market.
Yeah, and part of the losing, I feel like Stan Van Gundy, he hasn't came in and had the impact that I believe David Griffin believed he could have.
Yeah, that was a questionable hire to me, just in general. Like I just thought he's been out of the league for so long that it was going to be a challenge for him to adapt.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like I liked him in Orlando when he was with the Pistons. I feel like he had too much on his plate with the
The GM and
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But I like how he come. I like how he coached that Orlando team
Oh no,
back in
that
the
Atlanta
day.
team was dope. I love Dwight then, man. I thought Dwight was gonna be like a top five player for the next 10 years after that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now Dwight Howard was really really good in his prime days in Orlando. He was like the ultimate security blanket. He really was. He won like three defensive players back to back to back, and
Oh yeah, and just they built that team just completely around him, where they just surrounded him with shooters like Keto Turkoglu and players like that. That would just like for back in the day, they shot probably more threes than most teams in the league were doing back then.
you know what's crazy? I was looking up a stat like that team would be like almost last in this like in today's NBA.
Yeah, no, it shows you how much the game's changed since like especially Curry coming in, just changing how many threes people take from where they take them on the court. It's just, I mean, I don't mind that at all. I love seeing it. I love seeing all the spacing. It just shows, it gives all these athletes like Zion, RJ, players like that, just to, really get through the paint rather than you see just everybody clogging the lanes and just drawing fouls and hacking and whacking every other play.
Yeah, for sure. And even with Steven Adams being there clogging up the lane as he does, like Zion is still able to score efficiently around the basket. Once he gets his outside game, it's gonna be real tough to stop him. Like as soon as he's able to catch and shoot a three on a consistent basis, watch out.
Oh, yeah.
Watch out. And
Steve Adams, dope.
you like Steven? I know he went to Pitt. I know you're a big Steven Adams fan. Man, I was gonna
Yeah,
rip
but
Steven Adams. I was gonna rip Steven Adams.
honestly, like when he was at Pitt, he is like didn't look anything like he looks now. He was like this skinny, like clean cut, didn't have a beard or a single tattoo, and he just came in and he did like all right for a year. And like I wish he would have came because that next year is the year we actually had Kem Birch, so we would have had two 7 footers on that team. But he just went because if you're a 7 foot center like Steven Adams, you're going to go in the first round no matter what. So it just didn't make any sense for him to come back. So I'm not like super attached to Steve Adams, but I like seeing the player he became in OKC after how underwhelming he actually was at Pitt.
Yeah, for sure. But Steven Adams, he has his role. He when in the right situation, he can be effective. But I believe in the Pelican situation, this is just not the right fit for him. Him
Oh,
and
definitely. I thought that was a questionable fit from the beginning of that signing. I mean, I think if you're gonna pair Zion with somebody, it should probably be somebody that can at least like attempt a three.
yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And the problem with for me, like David Griffin's been hasn't been really doing his job correctly. Like drafting Jackson Hayes with Zion, I don't think that's gonna be
Yeah, it seemed like they play the same area of the floor a little bit too much.
yeah, for sure. And then the problem I have with Steven Adams, like he's not the greatest. Like he's a decent team defender, but one on one he gets killed by most bigs.
He gets
Ladder,
killed by like athletic bigs.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And he's a good screen setter, but he's not the best rebounder.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But he has flaws in his game, like huge flaws that amplify in the Pelican system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, like I said, I mean, I think even part of like the reasoning behind them signing him was that
Yeah, then they
kind of,
extended him. Like, what the fuck? I,
and it's
I
just
remember
like,
that.
and like Stan Van Gundy, like I said, it's he's been out of the league for a while, and like he's used to having players like Dwight Howard and the paint, and I just think part of it was like he wants a traditional back to the basket big that can do those sort of things, and that's part of the reason why I think he's not been a good fit with Zion specifically.
Yeah, good point, good point. And also about David Griffin drafting Kira last year, even if they had Lonzo, which just to me was questionable. They could have used that pick to improve their roster for this year, areas that they could have improved on. They still got to pay Josh Hart. And I appreciate JJ for throwing dirt on the Pelicans' name after leaving.
Yeah, that was scummy, man. That's fucked up.
you know, appreciate that. I hope Lonzo hears that. I hope Lonzo you're hearing that.
Seriously, though.
Yeah, for sure. Drifting away from teams, I want to talk about, some young players that have been, really turning it on the last few games. One of my favorite players from last year's draft that I wish the Knicks could have picked. One of my favorite players in the league, my guy Pokuševski. The last 5 games, putting up 16, 5, and 2, shooting the ball way better than he did before. Um, Really, he's 7 foot and he has so much potential to grow. Yeah, skinny, but you could put him at the 3, the 4, and maybe when he gains some weight in a few years, maybe he could have a Giannis transformation or something to put weight on his body, and for him to be able to play multiple positions. And because his basketball IQ is ridiculous to me. I don't know how familiar about you with Pokuševski's game or Pokuševski just in general. Shit.
I've seen just recently on Twitter a lot about like some people posting some of his stats and just how he's been playing super well as of late. And like you said, I mean, I think the biggest thing is going to be how much muscle and weight you can add to his body to really add to that physicality to have a transformation. Not quite to the level of Giannis, but just to add that extra layer of being able to kind of just really shoot through contact and finish through contact at the rim. And if he can do that, I mean, I think he's got a really high ceiling. I mean, he could have like a Christian Wood type career.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like the reason why I'm so naturally high on him is because last year he was playing in like a European league that's like terrible, like terrible, terrible. And he was dominating there, and then people had questions, and he came straight into the league. Took him a little bit, but now he's really like turning on, and like if he's able to come from that environment into the NBA, and still survive, still put up good stretches here and there. I'm like, yeah, we'll see what he could be 2 or 3 years. And Sam Presti really nailed this pick, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing Sam Presti is really going to have to do because he has a lot of first round picks, and you're going to have to get some players that are kind of players that are good players with high upside, but are a little bit of a project like that will take 2, 3 years. Because if you just keep trading up and you keep getting like, top 15 picks year after year after year, those contracts are going to add up and you're not going to be able to pay everybody. But if you give a player like Boku and he can, you know, have a good year like he's having now, have another good year next year, going into his third year, maybe you extend him at a reasonable price and you're able to take advantage of just more shots at the lottery than or the draft in general than other teams that having developmental players like that can stick around and develop into good solid role players and like a championship team is going to be a huge part of how well that team can be constructed.
Yeah, great find, great find. Another player that's been balling out the last 7 games, Michael Porter Jr. I've always loved Michael Porter's game. I really wish the Knicks would have took him and just waited out the year.
Mm.
Like he was another player. Like I really thought when if he ever got it together, I knew him. Like I followed him since like his sophomore year in high school. I knew if he ever got it together, he'll be a killer in the league, putting up 21 points, 9 rebounds, just a real focal point of that Denver's offense, pushing out Will Barton, taking Will Barton's minutes. How you felt about Michael Porter, like development?
I mean, he's honestly exceeded all my expectations because, like you, I mean, I really liked him coming out of high school and everything, but those injuries and just like specifically his back injuries, lower back injuries, that just terrified me for him coming out of the draft. And I mean, it's still early on to say how that eventually pans out, but I mean, right now he's looking like no, he's showing no effects of that. He's really just blossoming into the player that everybody saw he could be, but was scared off by a little bit because of that injury history.
Yeah, man, and Denver is deep. Even though they traded RJ Hampton, they still got Howard from Marquette, who's still, I believe, he could still be a serviceable player in the NBA. They still got Monty Morris from MSU, who I believe he could still be a serviceable player. They drafted Capazzo, who's been like he's a 40-year-old rookie, but he's been playing great minutes for them.
Yeah.
Uh, the Bo, I think he could still have a serviceable career in the league, and he hasn't even touched the floor. So Denver has been drafting just incredibly well, and they can't even put all those players on the floor, man.
Yeah, no, they have probably the deepest like team in G League, just like from top to bottom than any team in the league right now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Shout out to that management over there in Denver. Shout out to
Yeah,
that.
I can't remember the name of the guy, but one of the guys from that Denver front office came over to the Knicks, right?
Did they?
Some
No,
someone.
I think the guy you were referring from is from Utah, Walt Perrin, who
Oh,
helps
that's
with their
right.
draft
That's
picks.
right.
I think he identified like Donovan. He
Yeah,
ident
yeah, yeah. That's what
yeah.
I was thinking of. I always get Denver and Utah mixed up, and I don't know. It's there's no excuse for it, but
Nah,
it's
it's the
something I do.
altitude. It's the altitude, bro. It's the altitude. Like it's a bitch to play there.
uh,
Yeah, for sure. Transitioning into another young player. I know we dislike him because of the team he plays for, but he has been balling. It's kind of disrespectful not to talk about him, man. Shout out to Luka Doncic putting up 28 points,
I
seven,
love Luca, man.
yeah, man, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, 40% from three. Dallas has been, Cal supported. They don't even have to. I believe they're seventh in the standings right now. Luca after the All Star game has been carrying him, even with Porzingis, in and out the lineup. They
Hmm.
still been able to win games. We saw them at the Garden put it on us. How you feel
Yeah,
about Luca, and how you feel about Luca?
honestly, I've loved Luca ever since it was right around the year we drafted KP. Maybe it was either that summer or the summer before, but him and KP matched up in like a Euro League game, and I watched that kid Luca, and I was like looking at Porzingis because I was like, that's a realistic spot, like a player that the Knicks could draft, and then seeing Luca, I was like, this kid might be better than Porzingis, and like I had like these grand visions of him and KP playing together with the Knicks, and now I just have to watch that nightmare like play out in Dallas. But
Yeah, man, for sure. Like when Luca came in, I didn't know too much about him to be honest until like during this time right now, like when people are talking about the draft and you start researching,
uh,
and I didn't know. I thought he'll be like a solid, like maybe a starter. I did not think like he'll be this good. Like physically, he's able to go to wherever he wants on the floor.
oh yeah.
I did not expect his handle to be as good as it is now.
The
Like
thing is, he played at Real Madrid, and he played like, or wait, was Real Madrid or did KP play at Real Madrid? I forget now.
one of those
Either,
big clubs.
yeah, he played at one of those big clubs, and like players like KP put up good numbers. Frank put up honestly not great numbers, but whenever he was in France either. But Luca was putting up like MVP numbers in that league at like 18, 19 years old or whatever, however old he was then. I think he started playing professionally when he was 16.
Yeah.
And it's just he's been playing against grown men. And I think there's a huge talent gap between the Euro League and the NBA, but there's more physicality in the Euro League because you get a lot of the older players that don't pan out in the NBA that go over to the European leagues and are just like you're playing against, like just grown men and you're a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid. Like that's gotta be part of the reason why he's been so pro ready.
Yeah, for sure. You could see it even in LaMelo's game, how much it helps him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think they were very two similar prospects coming into the draft.
Yeah, for sure. Really surprised me. And just talking about Dallas as a whole, right now they're in like the seventh seed. If the playoffs were to start today, they would play the Suns. I feel like nobody really wants to play Dallas. Like Dallas is a bitch to play in the playoffs just because of Luca. You know, he
That's the
could.
thing though about the West. It's just so deep.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I don't have it right in front of me, but I can't even think of who the 8, 9, and 10 seed are in the
So
West.
I believe right now the seventh spot is Portland. It's Portland, Memphis, Golden State, and another team, but it's
It's just any of those teams you wouldn't want to play in the first round, you
yeah,
know?
for real, for real. Like, and out of all the years Utah decided to, be good and maybe have an easier playoff, like this is not the year for them to do that. Just the simple fact of like the playing game. So whoever comes out of the playoff game is gonna feel real good. Whoever comes out of that playing tournament is gonna feel real good playing the one in eighth seed, especially in the West.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, for real. That's pretty much everything I had to talk about. Uh, Anything else you want to bring up before I let you go?
Not too much on this end, man. It's been, you know, good time talking to you as always. Hope we can do this again in the future.
For sure, for sure.